Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. So I started a Baldur's Gate 3 Honor Mode run on the channel, and I've been streaming live on YouTube for the past few weeks now. I've got about 600 hours in BG3, and I've beaten the game on every difficulty, even Honor Mode, prior to this stream, so I'm pretty well experienced in this game, although I know there are many of you out there who will have more hours than I do. However, despite the fact that I do have a lot of hours in this game, we did still suffer a few hiccups here and there, which we'll get into shortly. Just a quick note, I have the Omen 25L as my pre-built PC, and it's terrible, so all of the cutscenes and terrains and whatnot take forever to load in sometimes, so we'll get some pretty awful but funny cutscenes from time to time. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. So, to make things easier on myself, I thought being a drow would be a good choice since there are so many dialogues and combats that can be easily skipped due to simply picking this race in Act 1. Also, I just like the drow. We make ourselves a muscle mommy, and I give her a name that I think sort of sounds drowish, Malevia. As for our class, we'll be playing an Oath of Vengeance Paladin / Swords Bard hybrid with 2 levels in Paladin and 10 levels in Bard being the main goal. However, for most of Act 1 we'll just be a normal paladin because it's an easier way to play in the beginning. We try to fully optimize our stats by having all even numbers in our ability scores, as having odd numbers does not do anything in this game, or in D&D as a whole, and I make my Dream Visitor look like a Wood Elf version of my PC. After that, character creation is done, and we set off from the Nautiloid and begin our adventure. I won't bore you too much with the details of what happened on the ship, but we did rescue us without mutilating them, and we made an attempt to kill Commander Zalk, but it was in vain, so we wound up exiting the Nautiloid fairly quickly. And here we get a glimpse of our first horrible cutscene. Yeah, just take in that view. That's what I see every time I play this game. After crash landing, I gather Shadowheart, Astarion, Gale, and Lae'zel before taking on the first dungeon to get Withers. Withers is extremely important in Honor Mode because all of the companions in this game have pretty terrible stats, to be honest, at the start, so we can use Withers to reset their base ability scores and make them fully optimized just like our Muscle Mommy Drow. We have a bit of a rough time dealing with the humanoid enemies, but once we're past them, the skeleton fight is super easy and we've acquired the Bone Man. Now we're fully ready to take on the next big fight, which is outside of the Emerald Grove. Every time I do this fight, I post up on this hill, and I never have any issues whatsoever, honestly. If you're still doing this fight on the ground level,
stop it. Get some help.
We clean things up, acquire the Gloves of Power for Astarion, punch Aridin in the face because he just sucks, and we offer to help out Zevlor. Along the way, we pick up Will and add him to the party, making him somewhat of a mainstay in the group going forward. Warlocks are my favorite class to play anyway, just due to Eldritch Blast alone and Hunger of Hadar later on, so he's a good choice, and honestly, I just like Will. He's a good buddy. Anyway, Zevlor and Kaga tell us to talk to Nettie, and she lets us know that Master Halsin is the one to talk to about our parasite problem. Only issue is that he's been taken off by the goblins. We're more than happy to help out and get him back, but we're only level 3, and not well equipped to take on an entire camp filled with goblins just yet. So we spend quite a while just wandering about, honestly, avoiding combat, and attempting to gather as much XP as possible. Except I couldn't help myself, so we did kill Aridin and his posse outside of the Blighted Village. Fuck that guy. While in the Blighted Village, we rescued Barkus Root, talked to the most charming devil in Avernus, befriended some ogres, and we made our way to our final companion before Act 2, Karlach, the hottest tiefling in the game. Literally. I also got us a gnome hireling from Withers that we named Lord Farquaad, and he's going to be granting us aid to give our party extra HP every single day. After walking around aimlessly for a while, I thought it would be a good idea to free Saza from the Emerald Grove to get easy access to the Goblin Camp. However, this was a big screw-up, because for one, as a drow you can already just walk into the Goblin Camp, and for two, I forgot I was a paladin, and I needed to adhere to the roleplay a bit, so I wound up breaking my oath doing this, becoming an Oathbreaker paladin. Because it cost so much money to respec, I decided to just roll with it, and we were an Oathbreaker for much of the rest of Act 1. Once inside the Goblin Camp, we did a few errands, but we were far from ready to take on the entire encampment yet, so we just stuck to the basics. We got branded by Priestess Gut, got beat up by the Leviatar guy, and we killed Gut's ogre. Then we left for Joaquin's Rest, saved the guy from the upstairs, and rescued Counselor Floric as well. Once that was all done, we went down into the basement and got introduced to the Zhentarim, and we actually accepted their quest to retrieve their shipment so we could get not only the really good crossbow, but the Titan string bow as well. I moved on into the swamp and we killed off the mud mephits and the gnarls, so that way we can fix Kaga and get her away from the influence of the Shadow Druids.
Let's see if we can do it. Oh! Muscle mommy.
From there, we ventured further into the swamp and came across Auntie Ethel's tea house. While I was borrowing some things from her house, I actually got caught by her, and I attracted the attention of all of the Redcaps in a combat that I was not prepared for. I broke the ladder so it would take them longer to reach me, and although Shadowheart went down quite a few times during the whole encounter, thankfully we were never really in any kind of danger, and we were able to take out all 4 of the Redcaps with pretty much no problem. After that encounter, I long rested, and in the morning I let Volo stab my eyeball out with an ice pick so I could get the permanent sea invisibility buff, and we moved on to tell Kaga that she was being a bit of an a-hole, to put things lightly, and through a little convincing we got her to aid us in killing the Shadow Druids at the Grove. Now that we'd been through a few combats and leveled up, I figured it would be a good time to kill the Harpies, which we did with keeping the kid alive, and I wanted to finally take out the Gnolls. I accidentally made Flynn attack the 2 guys working for the Zhent.
Wait, I'm confused. What did I just click? I guess I told her she could go kill those people.
But other than that, the encounter went really smoothly, and we were able to convince her to eat herself in the end as well. We robbed the Zhentarim blind after that by entering their underground storage area in the Underdark, and we used their platform to bully the Minotaurs below for some good XP. For the rest of the day, we also received the Necromancy of Thay by bullying the Magic Mirror, and we killed off the Paladins of Tyr, also looting their basement for goodies as well. Finally, I felt confident enough in my abilities to kill the Spider Matriarch, so we descended further beneath the Blighted Village to collect our kill. Importantly, the spider cannot die from being pushed off the map in honor mode, so we couldn't cheese her in that way. Instead, a very consistent method of damage against her is to burn the webs that she stands on and let the fall damage work its magic. She got a few good hits in on us, but nothing can really beat a party that's well prepared, so down goes the spider. Now, I was eager to gain more XP after this point, so we went off to parley with the Githyanki near the mountain pass. Unfortunately, Kithrak Voss was onto Lae'zel and I's scheme, and it triggered the combat session with the Gith.
Lae'zel, child.
Oh, shit. Shit, she failed the deception.
I had been putting this encounter off for quite some time because of this being a possibility, and I'd even stacked up inspiration specifically for this, only to be beaten on a check that I couldn't influence. Big bummer, to say the least. One by one, my party was slaughtered by the Gith soldiers, and while I should have been nervous, I wasn't. See, I foresaw that this was a possibility, so I had Astarion run back to camp while my PC, Shadowheart, and Lae'zel all bit the dust. If your entire party dies during an encounter, then honor mode ends. However, if one person remains standing, then you're fine. Astarion then used Withers to bring back the 3 of us who died, and all was well in the world once more. I did decide to go right back to the Gith and give it another go though, since I thought the only reason that we died was because we were unprepared. And I was right. They died pretty easily once we showed back up. Following the death of the Gith soldiers, I decided it was about damn time we actually explored the Underdark a bit further. Aside from getting bullied by the Bulette, who's like invincible in honor mode, we got quite a bit done. We met some Myconids, a really cool hobgoblin and his mind flayer buddy Omeluum, and we just killed some crazy people and discovered a bunch of fast travel locations throughout the rest of our time down there. And now, finally, it was time to take on the Goblin Camp and rescue Master Halsin of the Druid Grove. We get him out of his cell and take out everyone in that room and outside of the room before leaving Halsin to finish up a few loose ends in the Emerald Grove with the Tieflings.
I'm glad I thought of this. So we're gonna go back to the Emerald Grove.
Where are you going? We have work to do.
Okay, good shit.
It's okay. Halsin will be fine. We return to him and enter the next room with Minthara, making sure to click on non-lethal damage before attacking her so we can see her later in Act 2. We roll really good RNG during this time, scoring a clutch double hold person, and Minthara goes down no problem.
While we have non-lethal damage on. She's at 1 HP, because we dealt 19 damage, so we'll go like so. And she is now knocked out. Wow.
None of the other goblins were alerted to us because I threw the scrying eye in the pit, so yeah, it was pretty simple. And I feel like I'm forgetting to talk about something, though. Oh yeah, Halsin. He's still fine. I also forgot to mention, we did kill Priestess Gut earlier before all of this happened. We kind of just walked in there and assassinated her. It happened so quickly I forgot to put it in the script, so we'll just throw it in right here. On to the next room, we take on Dror Ragzlin, who is the final boss that we have to take out in the Goblin Camp. And I really enjoyed this fight. I like taking this fight with a couple people on the rafters, so I usually post up really advantageously, getting Will, myself, Astarion, and Shadowheart all into position. And just as I was moving my PC into position, tragedy struck. I'd forgotten that Halsin, who was stuck to my PC as a follower, was, well, following me. So, as I was walking around at the backside of the arena from the rafters, Halsin's dumbass decided to follow me in a straight line from the floor, leading him directly into the eyesight of everyone in the room, and triggering the fight. But, yeah, don't worry. Halsin will be fine. Right?
Oh my god, Halsin... Oh no! Oh no! Halsin died! Oh god. Oh no. Oh god, Halsin fucking died.
Yeah, Halsin got obliterated here. That crit was insane damage. It took his bulky ass right out of wild shape, which is another bummer. Unfortunately, he cannot be revivified since at this point he's not a companion, so we have to say our goodbyes to him forever. His sacrifice was not in vain, though. Since he lured Dror Ragzlin over to this ledge, we were able to use Eldritch Blast from the rafters to knock him inside of the spider pit. I'd like to think that Halsin would be proud to some extent, at least. After that, though, we finished off the room fairly easily, and then we went back to tell Zevlor about what had happened, before returning to slaughter every goblin in the name of our dead druid friend that we knew for like 5 minutes in actuality. We did bring the ogres into this fight as well, but unfortunately, because I convinced them so well to help me, I was not able to get the circlet off of them or kill them in time. Zevlor invited us to celebrate at our camp, and we told him that we'd meet up with him later, seeing as we had a few things to do before finally leaving for the mountain pass, which I was very excited to do for the prospects of new loot. We rescued Oscar Fevros and killed the Zhentarim, participated in the owlbear fight, making sure to leave the owlbear cub alive, and after telling Kaga about her dead boss, we left for the mountain pass, which screwed up the entire party at our campsite with the tieflings, and to be honest, I was a little bit annoyed at this, but oh well, not the biggest issue in the world. Once in the mountain pass, we immediately tried to pickpocket this old lady for her stuff, and we screwed up the first check, which meant that we had to kill her. Thankfully, she drops all of her good gear anyway, so we swapped out our old gear with the new drip. We killed some undead and then made it to the Temple of Lathander, where we fought some kobolds and Grimishka, and stole ourselves the Dawnmaster's crest so we could grab the blood of Lathander easily. We then did a 180 and went back to the Underdark to kill the Dwergar for some more XP, since the Creche is a fairly high level area and I was getting a little scared. Thankfully, the fight with the Dwergar was pretty easy. We ended our day in the Underdark in the Arcane Tower, slam poetrying our way out of a boss fight and looting the entire place top to bottom. At this point, I finally felt like I could take on Auntie Ethel, which was a boss fight that I'd been nervous for since the start of the run. Ethel is tricky since her legendary action is that any time she takes damage from a spell, she'll summon more duplicates. Thankfully, I didn't have to put up with her duplicates for long since I brought Gale with me, who has the spell Magic Missile, which can instantly dispel Ethel's clones in quick succession. Plus, we gave him the Psychic Spark Necklace, which gives the spell 1 extra missile whenever it's cast. We wound up getting Ethel low enough that she offered us a piece of her hair, which we used to permanently buff our charisma, and we said goodbye to the old hag after negotiating Mayrina's freedom from her.
Bye-bye, Ethel.
I decided then that it was time for a change of scenery, and we left for the Underdark once more to kill the Spectator, and I got to talk down to this guy because I was a female drow, which was pretty fun.
Loathsworn intimidation. I must have misheard you. Perhaps you'll speak louder from a rack in Menzoberranzan.
Forgive me, mistress. I would, of course, be honored to pass my research on to you.
Then I finally entered the Grim Forge, and honestly, this whole entire area was a cakewalk. The cliff notes were that we allied with the Dwergar, found the ancient forge, stole the rune powder barrel from this gnome, which is pretty funny.
Wait, what in the hell's?
And then we iced True Soul Nier. The Nier fight was incredibly easy since we posted up from the high ground here with Will and Dastarian, so it was really a foregone conclusion on who was going to win. Oh, and we rescued Barkus Root and invited him to our camp. Feeling better about myself, I headed back to the creche and hopped myself into the Zaith'isk. Someone in chat pointed out that you get a buff if you succeed all of your saving throws while in there, which I had never done, so I figured what the hell. We had 0 issues on our skill checks and we acquired the buff. By pretending to be brain dead, we are actually able to skip this combat that usually happens after here, which I was completely unaware of because I'd never gotten in the Zaith'isk myself, so that was kinda cool. I then made an audience with Inquisitor Wawargaz by telling the Githyanki that I had the artifact they were looking for. As I walked into the arena, I walked directly past Wawargaz and obtained the Blood of Lathander in the hidden room off to his left. We gave the mace to Shadowheart and we walked back through the creche, grabbing the Githyanki egg for our hot Gith girlfriend. I also finally made the swap over to being a Swordsbard / Oath of Vengeance Paladin at level 6 with 4 levels Bard and 2 levels Paladin. This was really a fun swap. We also unlocked the Actor feat to bump us up to 18 Charisma at Bard 4, and we gained access to Flourishes, which are absolutely broken. Combined with our now 22 AC due to our absurd gear, we have essentially become unkillable. We continue going through the level and secretly killing off enemies throughout the creche to gain enough XP to get up to level 7 before the Wawargaz fight. We also pickpocketed some crazy items off of this merchant before killing her and her troops, which did bump us up to level 7. We killed just about every Gith in the creche before attacking Wawargaz, and I was honestly really scared going into this fight since on my previous honor mode a few months ago, I got totally fucked up during this. Oh, also, I did some cosmetic updates on Malevia. Not really that important, but I wanted to mention it. Anyway, back to the Wawargaz fight. I got some fun advice from someone in chat to cast a warding glyph under Wawargaz's feet, and we were able to include this other Gith in there as well. This works because he's not aggroed on us until we either piss him off or we exit the Astral Prism. I chose to do neither and simply outright attack him. I set up with Astarion and Scratch actually stealthed in the corner, and I frontlined with Lae'zel, Shadowheart, and Malevia. Now, I opened with an attack from Malevia rather than with Astarion, who unfortunately misses her first strike. But that's fine. That's actually why I saved Astarion in the corner. We use him to follow up, and he instantly crits without even using his Luck of the Far Realms. Next up is Lae'zel, who we used to push Wawargaz into the glyph beneath his feet, dealing good damage from Luck of the Far Realms as well. Now that he's lined up nicely, I take the time to shoot a Sunbeam at him and the other Gith from Shadowheart, and a few more hits from Lae'zel bring the Inquisitor down to 7 HP in just one round. The turn then rolls back around to Malevia, who has already used her action, but we do retain a bonus action. The only real thing we can do is a normal flourish with our rapier, and I decided to crit on this using Luck of the Far Realms, which automatically uses our Divine Smite as a paladin, instantly killing Wawargaz in just one turn. So yeah, this was a pretty easy encounter using this build. The creche was nothing really to worry about. We finish off the remaining guards and get ourselves out of there. Following the creche, our final fight of Act 1 is Grim, and we've strategically brought in Lae'zel for this fight as well. You see, when Grim is superheated, he's really only weak to bludgeoning damage, so we've swapped Lae'zel's Gith Greatsword for a hammer, and we swapped Will's Pact Weapon out for one as well. We were luckily able to get a good hit in on Grim with the hammer, and after his initial smashing, we banished him using Shadowheart so we could take out the Mephits throughout the area. The fight could have gone a bit cleaner, but we were able to smash him again with the hammer and take Grim out with Lae'zel. Easy peasy. Following this, we obtained the adamantine shield and the heavy splint armor, giving Will the shield, myself the helm, and Shadowheart the heavy splint. And finally, we said our goodbyes to Act 1 after roughly 24 hours of in-game time. Please subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more gaming content. We're going to be playing through Act 2 live here on YouTube, so stick around for that if you're interested, and I'll also be playing through a bunch of other games on the channel as well. Please check out my primary channel if you're into lore or video essay type content, Daraloth, as we just reached 11,000 subscribers recently, and I'd love to have you join in on the fun. Please leave a like, comment, or share if you enjoyed, and again, sub if you want to. My links are down in the description and down in the pinned comment. Remember, it's free to sub, free to join the Discord, free to follow on any single platform. Anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.